Hare Krishna.
Hare
Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much for kindly attending this session tonight. Although this is kind of really unusual, I really apologize that yesterday somehow or other my computer was stuck. You know. All right. We will start our discussion on the nectar of devotion. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Shwapadantam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shagara Gunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakha Vitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Vancha Kalpatarya Shaktipa Sindhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ukam karoti vachalam pangam hayate kirya kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurun Viratana. Hare Krishna. In our previous discussion, we were just touching the preface and also the introduction toward the nectar of devotion. Yes. So we see Srila Prabhupada's expression, yeah, what he's expecting from the reader of this book, yes, in the preface. And we can see Srila Prabhupada's moods also. And then in the introduction, we see that Srila Rupa Goswami offering prayers, yeah, the Mangala Charan offering prayers to the Parampara, asking their blessings. And also he, as the author of the book, give the blessings. Yeah, give the blessing to the readers of this very beautiful compiled book. Yeah. So what else we remember from our previous discussion? What is the Uttama Bhakti? Anybody still remember? What is the symptoms of the Uttama Bhakti? Anukulyena Krishna Anusilanam Bhaktir Uttama. So that is the Uttama Bhakti. Yeah. Your devotional service should be favorable. We think about Krishna in a favorable way that we simply want to serve him. Yes. And it should be free from material desires and also mental speculation. All right. So we will enter chapter 1 of Nectar of Devotion. Characteristic of pure devotional service. Pure devotional service is so sublime and satisfying that devotees engaged in Krishna's service don't want anything besides that service, not even the liberation of Salokya. Okay. So we will see here there are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. Yes. And even it is described that the personification of liberation, they would offer their obeisances to the pure devotees, asking for service. They are offering liberation toward the pure devotees, but pure devotees, they don't want anything other than the service to Krishna. They don't even want Salokya. Salokya means getting the liberation by which actually one can stay on the same planet as the Lord. Yes, this is Salokya Mukti. Yeah. Salokya Sarsi Sanipya Sarupya Ekatva Apiyutam Diyamanam Nagrinanti Vinamat Sevanam Janaha. So Vinamat Sevanam Janaha. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, this nectar of devotion, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, basically Srila Rupa Goswami, he is actually writing the book based on the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he gives a lot of evidences from different scriptures. Yeah, from Hari Bhakti Vilas, from Bhagavad Gita, from Srimad Bhagavatam especially. Yes, from different Puranas, Padma Purana, Narada Purana, Vishnu Purana. Yeah. So there are 5 kinds of liberation, namely to become one with the Lord. Yes, Sayujya Mukti, to live with the Supreme Lord on the same planet, Salokya, to have the same features as the Lord, Sarupya. Yeah, so this is actually the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, to enjoy the same opulences as the Lord and to live as companion of the Lord. The devotee, what to speak of rejecting material sense purification, does not even want any of the 5 kinds of liberation. He is satisfied simply by discharging loving service to the Lord. That is the characteristic of pure devotion. Yeah, this is called the moksha laguta krit, rejecting the concept of liberation. In the above statement by Kapila Deva from Srimad Bhagavatam, the actual position of a pure devotee is described, and the primary characteristic of devotional service are also defined. Further characteristics of devotional service are described by Rupa Goswami with evidences from different scriptures. He states that there are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service, which are as follows. Klesha Agni Subhada Moksha Lagutta Kritsirullava Sandrananda Visheshatma Sri Krishna Karsini Chasa. Klesha Agni. Pure devotional service brings immediate relief from all kinds of material distress. Yeah, klesha means distress. Yeah, Agni means to destroy. Pure devotional service is the beginning of all auspiciousness, subhadha. Yeah. So out of the 6, actually, it is interesting that the Acharya is giving some commentaries that out of the 6 characteristic of pure devotional service, a person who are practicing Krishna consciousness just on the beginning level would immediately experiencing these 2, the first 2 mentioned here, Klesagni and Subhada. Yeah, getting some relief from material distress, and his life becomes auspicious. Okay, so the example is given just like when we plant a seed. Yes, what happens when we plant a seed? Any seed, you plant any seed, the first thing sprouting is the 2 little leaves. Yeah, the 2 little leaves. If you observe, yes, any seed. Yeah, farmer would understand this better. Yes, so the first 2 immediately will be experienced by even a beginner in Krishna consciousness. Okay, Kleshagni and Subhada. And then next, those in pure devotional service deride even the conception of liberation. Yes, Moksha Lagu Takrit reject the liberation. Pure devotional service is rarely achieved. Sudur Lava. Why it is Sudur Lava, we will see the explanation. Yes. Pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. Sandra Ananda Visesa Atma. Yes, pure devotional service is the only means to attract Krishna. Yes, Krishna means one who is very attractive. Yes, the most attractive. That's the meaning of the word Krishna. But pure devotional service attract even Krishna himself. Yes. Krishna is all attractive, but pure devotional service attracts even him. This means that pure devotional service is even transcendentally stronger than Krishna himself because it is Krishna's internal potency. Yeah. So we will see the explanation of each of these 6 characteristics. Yeah. Kleshagni. In this way, there is a chain of sinful activities and their concomitant distresses. And the conditioned soul is suffering life after life due to these sins. He is suffering in the present life, the results of sinful activities from his past life. And he is meanwhile creating further sufferings for his future life. Mature sinful activities are exhibited if one is suffering from some chronic disease, if one is suffering from some legal implication, if one is born in a low and degraded family, or if one is uneducated or very ugly. But all these reactions to sinful deeds can immediately be stopped if we take to Krishna consciousness. As evidence for this, Rupa Goswami quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 14th chapter, verse 19. This is the prayers of Lord Brahma. Okay? This verse is in connection with Lord Krishna's instruction to Uddhava. Yes, where he says, oh no, 11th canto. This is the Uddhava Gita. Lord Brahma's prayer is in the 10th canto, chapter 14. I'm sorry. Where he says, my dear Uddhava, devotional service unto me is just like a blazing fire, which can burn into ashes, unlimited fuel supplied to it. The purport is that as the blazing fire can burn any amount of fuel to ashes, so devotional service to the Lord in Krishna consciousness can burn up all the fuel of sinful activities. Okay. So, klesha, the suffering, is actually caused by our past misdeed. Yeah. If you are pious, then you will not suffer. Yes. Your life will become all right. That's why Srila Prabhupada gave the example like if someone gets some chronic disease, born in a low family, not very educated, and not very good looking, life is so miserable. Now, this is the proof that actually he was sinful in his past life. But however, when it comes to the life of pure devotees, please note this, that actually all these not at all applicable. Yes, one should not judge the pure devotees by seeing the external appearance of those pure devotees. Yes, the example is just like Ganga. Yes, sometimes now during the rainy seasons, yes, we see there are so many bubbles in Ganges and there are so many dirt, but still Mother Ganga is pure. So all these bubbles just the external appearance of Mother Ganga, but still her water is pure because Mother Ganga is always in connection with Lord Vishnu's lotus feet because she directly manifesting from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Yes, of course, for the materialistic people, they cannot appreciate when Ganga becomes muddy. But for pure devotees, doesn't matter. Just take baths to Ganga, that's it. Yes. So suffering, again, yes, the cause of suffering is one sinful activities in the past. Otherwise, there would be no suffering if you are not sinful. Yes. So immediately, the suffering condition of the jivas will be ended actually as soon as it takes up the process of devotional service. Yes. But sometimes we see the devotee's life also miserable. Sometimes some devotees are suffering. Is this statement of the Sastra is wrong? So what do you think on this? If you are one day presenting this topic, all 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. First, place Agni. Okay. But still, people are practicing devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes their life also miserable, suffering, so many problems. So what do you say on this? Anybody would like to give some opinion here?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Yes, go ahead, Archit Prabhu.
Prabhuji, can you please repeat the question? My network is bad.
The question is that when it comes to this topic, your devotional service can immediately mitigate the suffering of the living entities. Yes, those who are practicing devotional service. And then sometimes we see also the life of some sincere devotees, they are suffering. And here the explanation is that the suffering is caused by the sinful activities that they have done in the past. But as soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, this sin immediately be destroyed. Then how would you justify this kind of situation?
So, Prabhuji, there is one very good analogy that Srila Prabhupada used to give. He used to say that Krishna consciousness is like a running fan. If you're putting a switch off, so the fan is starting to stop. So it will slowly getting to stop. It does not stop immediately. So that is, which is the remnant of our prarabdha, which is just going away slowly and slowly. And also he says that doesn't matter if you are a pure devotee or not, you are still in this material world, and the laws of three gunas applies to you to some extent, and that is why the suffering exists.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
And how devotees deal with suffering? That could be another follow-up question, right? How a pure devotee deal with suffering? What is his attitude?
So their attitude is like a blessing. That is also a prasad from Krishna. So if a prasad is not tasty, it's salted, unpalatable, still it's prasad is a prasad. So that
Yes.
accept that as also mercy from Krishna, and they
Yes.
move on.
Very nice. Yes, thank you so much.
Hare.
Very nice. Yes, correct. So Prabhupada gave that example. Yeah, just like fan. When you turn on the fan, it will spin. And then when you turn off the fan, not immediately, the fan will also stop. Yeah. So it's still moving sometimes. And when devotees encounter with some unpalatable situation in their lives, so they simply see it's just the blessing of the Lord. Yes, the best example given in the Srimad Bhagavatam is just like Pariksit Maharaj, who got cursed. Yes, that he will die within 7 days, but he did not lament, he did not regret, he didn't feel sad. Rather, he took this opportunity to renounce everything and come closer to Krishna. So it's blessing. Yeah, devotees will always see blessings. Yes. Very good. Yes, here it is. Very nice verse. Aprarabdha palam papam kutam bijam palanmukam samenaiva paviyeta Vishnu Bhakti Ratat Manam. Yeah, Vishnu Bhakti Ratat. It is stated in the Padma Purana that there are 4 kinds of effect due to sinful activities, which are listed as follows. First, the effect which is not yet fructified, the effect which is laying as seed, the effect which is already mature, and the effect which is almost mature. It is also stated that all these 4 effects become immediately vanquished for those who surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, and become engaged in its devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. Yeah, so papa means sins, aprarabdha, the unmanifest reaction, kutam means sinful propensity, the bija, yeah, sinful desire, and prarabdha, manifest reaction, or it is called also palonmukam. Yes. So not all the sin immediately one will get the reaction when he sins. Yes, when he commits some sinful activities. So just like when you cook rice, not immediately the second you put the rice on the stove, yes, it will cook. So it will take some time to be mature, yeah, to be cooked. So that's also happening with sinful activities. As long as one is in as long as one is ignorant about his identity, he is sure to act wrongly and thereby become entangled in material contamination. This ignorance of factual knowledge can also be dissipated by Krishna consciousness, as is confirmed in the Padma Purana as follows. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the highest enlightenment. And when such enlightenment is there, it is just like a blazing forest fire, killing all the inauspicious snakes of desire. Yeah, very nice analogy here. Yes. And there is forest fire. So the birds and the animals which have 4 legs, they will run away. But the snakes, they will go under the ground, yes, and they will get burned also. They get the heat, so they will die. So the material desire compared just like the snake, and devotional service compared just like blazing forest fire that burns the snake of our material desire. Yes, Archit Prabhu, go ahead.
Prabhuji, Prabhuji, so the last slide you said it had 4 parts of sin.
Yes.
So is the sin and the sinful desire, is it there is no overlapping? Because if we are thinking sinfully in our mind, maybe we are not acting, that is also considered to be a sin, isn't it?
This one, right? You are talking about this.
Yes, first and third.
There is papa, oh sorry. There is papa, which is sin, and there is kutam or bija, yeah, sinful desire. And the question is, Hare Krishna. Papam or sin is the sin itself. What kind of sin? Yes, could be stealing, could be doing something wrong. And the bija or desire is within your heart, within the mind. Yes, you have that desire. Sometimes we can control that desire, we can restrain it. Yes, depending on how strong we can control the desire. The moment we cannot control it, it will just pop up. Yes, it will pop up and it will appear as sinful activities. Yes, pop up. So what is your confusion?
Uh, Prabhuji, I'll be Apologies from my side. My network is very bad. I couldn't hear you. And even if you'll speak, I think they will be cutting. So I don't want to waste your time. We'll speak this whenever we have a good network so that your time is not wasted here.
Okay. So
Yes.
basically, papa or sinful is the activities itself. Yes. So before acting, so we have some desire, and that is called the bija. Yeah. So before committing the sin, we have this desire. We're not just, like, well, sometimes we commit some sin unplanned, right? Unplanned. But most of the time, one commits sinful activities after so much contemplation. Yes, after so much thinking. Yes, then he will execute them. Okay. Okay, this is a lecture from Srila Prabhupada. People suffer out of ignorance. That is called papa, sin. Yes. Any criminal mostly does not know the real law. He commits something unknowingly by ignorance, and he becomes not a subject of criminal punishment. Therefore, ignorance is sinful life. Ignorance. So people should be enlightened from ignorance. And that is real religion. One should be enlightened himself, and one should enlighten others also. That is the mission of Krishna consciousness. That is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Yeah, Bharat Bhumite Hoilo Manusya Janmajar. Janma Sarkaka Korikari Para Upakar. Yes, Para Upakar means to preach, not just making our life perfect, but we make also others' life perfect. So sinful activities basically due to ignorance, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here. Yes. So, but sometimes we see that people are so intelligent, yes, but still committing some sins. Yes. So that means the so-called knowledge that he has is not really helping him. Yes. So real knowledge is knowledge in Krishna consciousness, and that also should be realized. Yeah. That's also should be realized. Otherwise, there is no point of knowing so many things. Okay, number two, Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. How the Krishna consciousness movement can attract the attention of the whole world, and how each and every man can feel pleasure in this Krishna consciousness is stated in the Padma Purana as follows. The person who is engaged in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is to be understood to be doing the best service to the whole world and to be pleasing everyone in the world. In addition to human society, he is pleasing even the trees and animals because they are also becoming attracted by such a movement. A practical example of this was shown by Lord Chaitanya when he was traveling through the forest of Jharkhand. Jharkhand in central India for spreading his Sankirtan movement, the tigers, the elephants, the deer, and all the other wild animals joined him and were participating in their own ways by dancing and chanting Hare Krishna. Well, of course, we don't see this nowadays. Yes, but auspicious, what does auspicious mean? Yeah. It brings enlightenment to the heart of the people. Yes. It brings the enlightenment to the heart of the people. Yes, it changed the misdirected civilization to the good civilization of the people. This is auspicious. Auspicious means there is no more trouble, there is no more sin. Yes, auspicious, everything is good. Yes, why there are so many catastrophe, there are so many chaotic situation in the world. Well, it is because of the reaction of the sins. of the population. Of course, there are two types of sinful reaction. One is individual, one is collective. Yes, sometimes you don't do sinful react. Sometimes you don't do sinful activities. But because you live in the environment of the sinful people, sometimes you get the effect also. Yeah, you get the effect also. Practical example, just like, well, now we still have this war between Ukraine and Russia. So devotees also, many devotees lost their houses. Yes, they're not committing sins, but they live in the environment of the sinful people. Then the collective reaction also would affect the life of the person who is not committing sinful activities. That's also happened. Yeah. But when there is Krishna consciousness everywhere, yes, so that brings auspiciousness. Yes, Archit Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, on that, are you trying to say that devotees should always try to live in not those places where Krishna consciousness is not there to avoid the collective reactions of karma?
Very good questions. Ideally, yes. Ideally, Srila Prabhupada wanted us to live in the Vaishnava community. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that village is the living base and city is the preaching base. So now, depending on your activities, okay, if you are not preaching, then you should not live in the environment of there are so many non-devotees. Yes, if you're not doing preaching. Yes, because you go to the city, let's say like this, you go to the city for preaching. Yes, for preaching Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, you go to the natural environment, ideally in the Vaishnava village community. Yes, in the Vaishnava community, one will feel safe. Yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah.
Prabhuji, the question is coming because I think it is in line with our temple president, His Grace Vardha Krishna Prabhuji's. He says to Navdeep Sachi Mataji that
Yes.
we are the warriors, we are Kshatriyas. So because Mataji wanted to go into Mayapur and Vrindavan, but says that we have to stay here because
Yeah.
here is where we'll be doing preaching. This is our battlefield.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
That is the point. If you're not preaching, then you don't live in such a city like Bangalore,
Mm.
unless you create some community devotees around you. Yeah. Otherwise, if you just want to practice your sadhana, so the best place is Mayapur, Vrindavan, anywhere where there is huge Vaishnava community, you will feel safe. Yeah.
Prabhuji, there is one more follow-up question.
Yes,
When you say
please.
all auspiciousness, so there are many devotees in our Bhakti Vikshas who are uh, who are thinking about Krishna, who are taking darshan of Krishna, eating prasadam, this that, but they are not doing chanting there. So for them, is it like this other things is preparing them for all auspiciousness, or is that they will they'll stay there in the level which they are right now?
Yeah, I mean, like they are beginners, right?
Okay.
Yeah, they are beginners. So we are talking here about pure devotional service. Yes, pure devotional service will bring auspiciousness. Yes, so of course, later on we will talk about different levels of devotees. Yes, different levels of devotees. But yes, they are beginners. They just get in touch with Krishna consciousness. They take darshan. They got some prasadam. That's good enough for them. Yeah. When they become more regulated, yes, then you can introduce chanting and they will become serious. Yeah. Of course, those who are fortunate enough will take up the practice seriously. Yeah. But generally, here is the thing, when people suffer so much, and then when they come in contact with Krishna consciousness, they will become much more serious. This is normally what happens. Okay? But of course, there are so many people who got frustrated with God, right? And they don't believe at all in God. But of course, Krishna also explained in the chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chaturveda, Bhajante Mangana Sukriti Lordina, Artho, Jigyasu Artha, Jyanicha Bharatasa. So Artha means those who are suffering. Yes, many people approach God. Many people come to the temple after they become so frustrated with whatever material life they tried, always failing. They become frustrated and they come to the temple. Maybe there is no solution. Okay, so maybe in the temple you will get some solution. So those kind of people could be much more serious. Yeah. So anyway, they are on the beginning level of their Krishna consciousness. They are just entering Krishna consciousness. But as preachers, we should introduce chanting. Japa is very important. What I used to do when I was in Cambodia. So we invite people, different people for our Sunday feast program. We make some gatherings, some sangha. And I made the program that chanting one round together is compulsory. Yes, first we have Arati and Kirtan, and then we have Katha. And then before Prasada, just distribute the beads, hand some beads to those people who come, make them chant one round at least. Yes, and then Prasada. So it's a good program, I would say. At least make them chant whenever they come to the temple, at least one round. Yes, when they become more serious, then you can just give the beads for free. Yes, I used to do like that. When they become serious, I give people beads for free. They chant. Yes, they don't need to pay the bills. Once they become devotee, they will donate to the temple. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Thank you. Furthermore, a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, acting in devotional service, can develop all good qualities that are generally found in the demigods. Yes, Bhakti Bhagavata Kinchana, this verse also from the Bhagavata. Yeah. Sandranandra Visesa Atma. Yes, happiness in Krishna consciousness. Srila Rupa Goswami has analyzed the different sources of happiness. He has divided happiness into 3 categories, which are: first, happiness derived from material enjoyment; second, happiness derived by identifying oneself with the Supreme Brahman; and third, happiness derived from Krishna consciousness. Yes. So there are 3 categories of happiness: material happiness, spiritual happiness, and transcendental happiness. Yes, material happiness is happiness derived from material objects. Yes, material sense gratification. The contact of material senses with the material object. You become happy. That is called material happiness. Spiritual happiness, when one understands that he's not the body and he identified himself with the Supreme Brahman. He wanted to merge with Brahma Jyoti. Yes, the Mayavadi feels happy. Yes, they do. Yes, the Mayavadis feel happiness. But it just, very little, very tiny of spiritual happiness. And then transcendental happiness. Happiness derived from service to Krishna. Yes, so Srila Rupa Goswami explained that you cannot compare happiness in Krishna consciousness, even like millions of ocean of happiness from the happiness derived from identifying oneself with the Supreme Brahman, that cannot match a tiny drop of happiness that one derives in Krishna consciousness. Yes. Happiness derived from pure devotional service is the highest because it is eternal. Happiness derived from material perfection or Understanding oneself to be Brahman is inferior because it is temporary. There is no preventing one failing down from material happiness, and there is even every chance of failing down from the spiritual happiness arrived out of identifying oneself with the impersonal Brahman. The mystic perfection achieved by actual successful yogis are 8 in numbers. Animasiddhi refers to the power by which one can become so small that he can enter into a stone. After comparing all these mystic yoga cities to materialistic perfection, we find that the materialistic scientists try for the same perfection. So actually, there is no difference between mystic perfection and materialistic perfection. Yes, so the 8 cities, yes, the Asta cities that one derived from the practicing mystic yoga, yes, that's actually not at all spiritual things. It's all material things. Like you become so light, yes. So now there are so many ships, so many boats. What is surprising about becoming light and you can float on the water? Yes, even huge ship, yes, can float on the water. Yeah. And you can fly also because you are so light. And there are so many aeroplanes nowadays. Yeah. So mystic perfection is just as good as material perfection. Yes, it is temporary. Yeah, it is temporary. Okay, Sudur Lava. Krishna can easily offer a person material happiness or even liberation, but he does not agree very easily to award a person engagement in his devotional service. Devotional service can, in fact, be attained only through the mercy of a pure devotee. Yeah, very important here. Why devotional service is very rare? Pure devotional service is very rare. Krishna can easily award material happiness or even liberation, but he is not easily awarding a person to be engaged in his service. Why? Why devotional service, pure devotional service is sudurlabha, very rare. Out of 7 billion human beings on earth, how many of them engage in devotional service? Out of how many population in Bangalore, let's say, how many engage in devotional service? Yes. So because devotional service is very rare. Why? Because if you become pure devotees, you will purchase Krishna. Yes, Krishna can be purchased only by pure devotional service. And what happened? Krishna will become your slave. How can God become a slave? Because he is attracted to pure devotional service, and he will do anything for a person who possesses pure devotional service. Krishna is the Supreme Father, Aham Bija Pradapita. Yes. But he agreed to become somebody's son because of pure devotional service. Yeah. And then the happiness of becoming one with the Supreme. Yes. One rejects the liberation. Srila Rupa Goswami says that if Brahmananda, or the happiness of becoming one with the Supreme, is multiplied by 1 trillion fold, it still cannot compare to an atomic fraction of the happiness derived from the ocean of devotional service. Yes, I mentioned about that. Sri Krishna Akarsini, yes, attracting Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami has stated that devotional service attracts even Krishna. Krishna attracts everyone, but devotional service attracts Krishna. The symbol of devotional service in the highest degree is Radharani. Krishna is called Madan Mohan, which means that he is so attractive that he can defeat the attraction of thousands of cupids. But Radharani is still more attractive, for she can even attract Krishna. Therefore, devotees call her Madana Mohana Mohini, the attractor of Cupid. how Krishna becomes attracted by devotional service of his devotees is described by Narada in Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, 10th chapter, verse 48 and 49. There, Narada addresses King Yudhishthira, while the king is appreciating the glories of the characteristic of Prahlad Maharaj. A devotee is always appreciate the activities of other devotees. Yudhishthira Maharaj was appreciating the qualities of Prahlad. And that is one symptom of a pure devotee. A pure devotee never think himself great. He always think that other devotees are greater than himself. Yes, that's why Krishna become attracted to a pure devotee, because a pure devotee never think that he is great. Yes, pure devotee will always feel genuinely that he is nothing. Yes. So this is the symptoms of the Uttama Adhikari. Uttama Adhikari will think that, oh, everybody is devotee and I'm just following. So Krishna is so attractive, but he becomes attracted by pure devotional service. Okay. So these are the 6 symptoms of the characteristic of pure devotional service. Were there any questions or comments? If not, then we can move to the next chapter. Chapter 2. First stages of devotion. The 3 categories of devotional service are described in this chapter, with particular emphasis on sadhana bhakti. One's eligibility for practicing sadhana bhakti is attraction to pleasing Krishna. And the most important part of this process is to always remember Krishna and never forget. The 3 categories of devotional service, which Srila Rupa Goswami describes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, are listed as devotional service in practice, devotional service in ecstasy, and devotional service in pure love of Godhead. Yes, this is called the sadhana bhakti practice. Then bhava bhakti in ecstasy, and then Sudha Bhakti. Yes, pure devotional service. So these are the 3 stages of devotional service. Practice means employing our senses in some particular type of work. Therefore, devotional service in practice means utilizing our different sensory organs in the service to Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Archit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was talking to one of the devotees. He was talking about Rag Bhakti as well. So, what is the Rag Bhakti, and is this not part of these 3 processes?
Raganuga Bhakti. Yes.
Yes.
Raganuga Bhakti is in the category of sadhana bhakti. We just about to word on this topic. Yes. Some people think that Raganuga Bhakti is when people already become so spontaneous that he doesn't need to follow rules and regulation in the scriptures. That's what I heard from many devotees, and that's actually a misconception. A person who have attained the level of Raganuga Bhakti, he is performing devotional service spontaneously, but still under the guidance of the spiritual master, following rules and regulation. But he is no longer struggling in doing some service. He do it out of spontaneous. Yes. So Raganuga Bhakti, Raga means attachment. It becomes too attached. Yes. So just like if a person becomes too attached with Mangala Arati, yeah, he will wake up at 4 o'clock without alarm. This is called the Raganuga Bhakti. Yeah. This is called the Raganuga Bhakti. Okay. So, but still he's acting under rules and regulations. Yes, he's not acting whimsically. I don't know whether you have heard this or not, but what I heard from many devotees is that when a person on the level of Raganuga Bhakti, he doesn't need any rules and regulation anymore because he's already on the level of spontaneous devotional service. It is not like that. He is performing bhakti in spontaneously, but he still follow rules and regulation because this is still in the category of sadhana. Yeah.
So, Prabhuji, in this three categories, we don't see Raganuga Bhakti here. So, a
We
little
will
confused.
see. We
Okay.
will see.
Okay. And one follow-up question. So, we know the Mirabai, who was a great devotee of the Lord.
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
sure if she has followed any guru or spiritual master in her
yes.
life.
Mm.
So,
Prabhupada in some places of his lecture also mentioned the name of Mirabai. I have heard once. Yes. Yeah, he doesn't have. That's actually in a special case, I would say. Yes. That's actually in a special case. Yeah, she has developed that attachment from the very beginning of her life. Yes. There is a description also that Mirabai one time he wanted to meet Srila Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan, but Rupa Goswami rejected to meet her because she is in a female body. And then Mirabai wrote a letter to him that actually in Vrindavan everybody is female, the only male is Krishna. And Rupa Goswami became humble out of that statement, and he was ready to meet and offer his obeisances to her. Yeah, so this case, like, very, very rare, very special case, I would say. But in most of the cases, one must follow rules and regulations. Yeah, especially those who are non-devotees in the beginning of their lives, and then somehow or other they get in touch with Krishna consciousness. Then you have to follow rules and regulations. Yes.
okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So
Thank
this
you.
kind of sentiment is like sometimes the Prakrita Bhakta, yes, the Sahajas, they would follow like that, whimsically, but they are not at all on the level of that bhava, or that attachment. But then as a result, they just simply become a hypocrite. Yes. There are some, I have seen once, group of Kirtanias from some villages here in West Bengal. Just 2 minutes after they started the kirtan, they just rolling on the ground, crying, start hugging everyone. Yes, crying and calling out the name of Gauranga, the name of Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada mentioned that there are so many sahajas like this. It's just for performance. They are acting so expertly. And then behind the scene, they will smoke the cigarette again. Yeah. So anyway, be careful with this kind of examples, such as Mirabai. We cannot follow it whimsically. Yeah. Better to be safe. That's my advice.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for
Okay.
the.
Come back to this. Yes, 2 types of sadhana bhakti. Why Raganuga Bhakti is not mentioned here? Who says? Here it is. Yeah, it is here in Nectar of Devotion. Yes, chapter 2. First, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. There is Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. Yes, both are in the category of Sadhana Bhakti. Service according to regulative principles. One has to follow these different regulative principles by the order of the spiritual master or on his strength of authoritative scriptures, and there can be no question of refusal. Yes, Vaidhi means rules. Yeah, Raganuga. Raganuga refers to the point at which, by following, you see, by following the regulative principles, one becomes a little more attached to Krishna and executes devotional service out of natural love. Yes. So don't get confused, okay? So Raganuga is also sadhana. Sadhana means following rules and regulation under the guidance of spiritual master. Yes. But the thing is that Raganuga means one already get the attraction, the attachment to some particular service to Krishna. Yes. And just like following for regulative principles, in the beginning, we feel that's so hard, But then after sometimes we don't feel it hard anymore because we become spontaneous to follow the four regulative principles. Yes. I remember uh, that khichdi in Indonesia is, it's not as good as khichdi in Mayapur. Okay. And then somehow the Indonesian khichdi sometimes has very strange taste. The day I moved to the ashram in 2011, the day I moved to ashram, I decided to become brahmachari, full-time devotee. So we have breakfast every day, khichdi. So I was like suffering so much in the beginning, because of this khichdi, that I couldn't eat this khichdi. Really, I couldn't eat this khichdi. But after some times, I become, spontaneous and just eat a lot of this khichdi, the same khichdi. So of course, purification takes place. Now that's like very, I don't know, whatever you would say. It's like simple example, honoring khichdi prasadam. What about like attending classes, for example? Yes, in the beginning, we may just struggle to attend the class, but when we develop the attachment to hear the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or any Krishna Katha, we will relish it. We will relish it. But still performing devotional service under the guidance of rules and regulation given in the Sastra and by the spiritual master. Okay, so Raganuga does not mean that one is advanced. That is true, one is advanced, but still he has to follow rules and regulation. Because Raganuga is also sadhana bhakti, part of sadhana. There is Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, there is Raganuga sadhana bhakti. Yes, so Raganuga is under the category of sadhana bhakti. Yes, sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and Sudha bhakti. So Raganuga is under the category of sadhana, under the category of practice, following rules and regulations. Okay, Archit Prabhu, are you clear now about this?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. It is very clear.
Yes, yeah, very good. Yes, it is important that to read the section that we will discuss before attending the class, as I many times mentioned this, so you would become familiar with what we are about to discuss during the class. Yes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us an authorized program for this purpose, centered around the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. This chanting has so much power that it immediately attaches one to Krishna. That is the beginning of sadhana bhakti. Yes. In the sixth canto also, it is described how bhakti is started. Yes, by accepting the holy name of the Lord. Yeah. Tandava grahana adivihi. Adivihi means the beginning. Yes. Etavan evan kesmin. Pusam dharma parasmritaha. Bhakti yugo bhagavati tannama grahana adivihi. So the highest occupational duty in the human society is bhakti yoga. How the Bhakti Yoga start? Tandama Grahana. Grahana means to accept. Yes, chanting the holy name, accepting the holy name. Yes, that is the beginning of Bhakti. Okay, what is the most basic of all regulative principles? Here it is. Smartavya satatam Vishnu, Vismartavyo na jatati. Sarve vidi nisedashur ekayureva kinkaraha. Yeah, very famous verse. The Padma Purana recommends somehow or other always think of Vishnu without forgetting him under any circumstances. Actually, this is the most basic of all regulative principles. For when there is an order from a superior about doing something, there is simultaneously a prohibition. When the order is that one should always remember Krishna, the prohibition is that one should never forget him. Within this simple order and prohibition, all regulative principles are found complete. Yeah. Sarve vidi niseda shur etayor eva kinkaraha. So sarve vidi, all the rules and regulation. Okay, vidi means rules and regulation. Etayor eva kinkaraha. All the rules and regulation, they becoming the servant of these two primary rules. Yes. Always remember Krishna, rule number 1. Rule number 2, never forget Krishna. So all other rules, the king Karaha, they are the servant of these two rules. Yes. So the king of the rules is that Smartavya Satatam Vishnu, Vismartavya Najatuchit. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. This is the king of the rules. Yes, all other rules, they are the servants. King Kara, they are the servants. Okay. So Smartavya Satatam Vishnu. This is the what do you call? Pravriti. Yeah, pravriti means the injunction. The injunction that you should follow. And then Vismartavyo Najatuchit. Never forget Krishna. Is the nivriti. Yes, the prohibition. Yes, that is priority and nivriti. What should be done and what not should be done. Yes, don't forget Krishna. Always remember Krishna. If this injunction is followed, then all other rules and regulations will automatically fall into line. All other rules and regulations should be treated as assistants or servant to this one basic principle. So Sukadev Goswami has recommended to Parikshit Maharaj that in order to be fearless of death, one has to hear, chant, remember the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna, by all means. He also mentioned that the supreme personality of Godhead is Sarva Atma. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma. Bhagavan Ishvara Harihi. Srotavya, Kirtavya, Smartavya, Chechata, Bhayam. Yeah. We are all affected by fear. Yes. Amongst all the propensities. Aharidra, Bhaya, Maituna. The Bhaya factor is the biggest, explained by Srila Prabhupada and other acharyas. Yes. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma. So Sarvatma, Krishna is the Sarvatma. The souls of all souls is the super soul. Bhagavan Harir Ishwaraha. Yes. Lord Sri Hari is the Bhagavan. Is the controller, the Ishwara. Srotavya, therefore, should hear about him, Srotavya. Kirtitavya, we should chant, should glorify him, Smartavya, and remember about Krishna. Then, Chechata, Ayam, we will be free from fear. Yes. So if we remember Krishna all the time, there will be no fear, like Prahlad Maharaj. Yes. Therefore, in the 7th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a chapter entitled Prahlad Maharaj is the best of all the devotees. Yes, because he is fearless. He remembered Krishna all the time. He remembered Krishna all the time. No fear. Yes, becomes Abhaya. If one simply remember Krishna all the time. This regulative principle is applicable to all varnas and ashramas, the caste and occupations of life. The target of these activities, however, is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed, the Bhagavad Gita is the supreme enjoyer. Yes, Bhaktaram Yajya Tapas. So, whether one is a Brahmana or a Sudra, one has to satisfy the Supreme Lord by one's activities. This is also confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam by a verse which reads, everyone must be engaged in his particular duty, but the perfection of such work be tested by how far the Lord is satisfied with such service. Yes. So, some siddhir harito sanam. Yes, some siddhir harito sanam. Whether one is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, or Shudras, his activities by the end of the day should be some siddhir harito sanam. Yeah. Pleasing to Lord Hari. A Brahmana who is born out of the head of the Lord. Yes. Brahmano Shyamukhamasite. Yeah. Brahmana born from the head of the Lord has his business to preach transcendental Vedic sounds or Sabda Brahma. Because the Brahmana is the head, he has to preach the transcendental sound. And he also has to eat on behalf of the Supreme Lord. According to the Vedic injunction, when a Brahmana eats, it is to be understood that the personality of Godhead is eating through him. It is not, however, that the Brahmanas should simply eat on behalf of the Lord and not preach the message of Bhagavad Gita to the world. Actually, one who preaches the message of the Gita is very dear to Krishna, as is confirmed in the Gita itself. Such a preacher is factually a Brahmana, and thus, by feeding him, one feeds the Supreme Lord directly. Okay, so regarding the Chaturvarnas, yes, the Brahmanas are supposed to be preachers. When we feed the Brahmanas, that means we are feeding the Lord. Yeah. But Srila Prabhupada make very clear point here. Yes. So as Brahmana, our duty not just simply eating on behalf of the Lord. We have to preach the message of the Lord also. Yes, those who are preaching the message of the Lord is very dear to Krishna. Yes. Machatasman manuseshu kaschin vipriya krittamaha. Bhavitana chame tasmat anya priyataru bhuvi. Anya priyataru bhuvi. In this world, Krishna said, there is no one is dear to me, just like the preacher. Yes. So of course there are so many people dear to Krishna. Many devotees, all devotees very dear to Krishna, but especially those who are preaching the message of the Lord is actually having a special place in Krishna's heart. And feeding such kind of devotee preachers is actually as good as feeding the Lord himself. Yes, especially being grihastas. We should invite some devotee preachers to our house. Yeah, we do kirtan, we hear katha from them, and feed them prasada. This is best activities for the grihastas to elevate our consciousness being grihastas, to purify our existence and to purify our wealth. We are busy collecting, but we forgot that we also need to purify our wealth, our so-called wealth. How? Vaishnava Seva. Yes. In the Narada Pancharatra, the regulative principles of devotional service are described as follows. Any activity sanctioned in the biblical scriptures and aiming at the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are accepted by saintly teachers as the regulative principles of devotional service. If one regularly executes such service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, then gradually he rises to the platform of serving in pure love of God. You do not require to become very rich man. The poorest of the poor can offer Krishna something. What is that? Patram, puspam, palam, toyo, little flower, little food, a little leaf, a little water. Everyone can collect a little flower, a little water, and from any part of the world. Not that Krishna can be worshipped in India. Krishna can be worshipped in Vrindavan. Wherever Krishna is worshipped, that is Vrindavan. Otherwise, if Krishna is not worshipped, that is not Vrindavan. Yes. Who is the best example in Chaitanya Charitamrita when we read this kind of statement? Kolavecha Sridhar. Yes. So Kolavecha Sridhar is very poor, materially speaking, very poor. You know, he lives near the Jagannath Mandir, yeah, in Rajapur. He lives in a hut, and his hut is, you know, without proper roof. So sometimes when there is rain, so water just come in. And he lives like with a bare minimum, but still he will perform the worship to Mother Ganga, 50% of whatever he earns. Yes, follow it just without. One of the best examples. Yes. So worshiping Krishna, it doesn't depend on whether one is rich, one is poor. If one is poor, you can offer whatever you can, flowers, water to Krishna. If you don't have anything, just chant Hare Krishna. Yes. One time during Janmashtami day, so some of the followers of the, what is his name? Gaur Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. Yes. Some of the followers of Gaur Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj came to him and said that, oh, Babaji Maharaj, today is the appearance day of Lord Krishna. People out there, they are celebrating so nicely. Then we don't have the chance to celebrate like that. And then Gaur Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj said, you fool, you are fool. Why you think that we cannot celebrate? You sit here and chant Hare Krishna. We will sit here till midnight to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's how we celebrate. Yeah. So of course, he's on a different level, you know, he's not from this world. He can celebrate in that way. So the point that I'm making is that the material condition of a person is not actually an impediment for performing devotional service to Krishna. Yes, if you are poor, materially speaking, then you just offer whatever you can. And if you are rich, like Sivananda Sen, yeah, the Chaitanya Charitamrita described how he every year would sponsor the devotees from Bengal to go to Jagannath Puri every Ratha Yatra festival, just in order to see Lord Chaitanya there. Yes, so he would sponsor the traveling expenses, prasadam expenses, and accommodation expenses. That's Sivananda Sena. Yes, that's how he utilized his wealth. He's very rich, but he has no attachment. He utilized everything in Krishna's service. And wherever Krishna is worshipped, that is Vrindavan, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here. If you are physically in Vrindavan and you are not worshipping Krishna, then you are not in Vrindavan. I remember one time, this great Janani was Prabhu. He mentioned that those who are in Mayapur, they can see Mayapur only when they perform devotional service. If they come for business, they might be physically in Mayapur, but actually Mayapur is covered by the layer of Krishna's divine energy. You see, you can be physically in the dham, but if you're not properly engaged in the service of the Lord, then you are not actually in the Dham. And you can be somewhere in America or Australia, anywhere. But if you are engaged in the service of the Lord, that is Vrindavan. Yeah. Okay. So that's the end of the presentation of chapter 2. Krishna, we have 13 minutes. Whether one has some question or comment. All right. If there's no more, kindly study the next chapters, and we will meet again on Sunday morning at 5:30. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.